stacked teams in the league in terms of pure talent and ability. But Impunity, as we've said, they have been improving week over week. They have a very clear win condition, and they have all the tools to not only protect their Jinx, but get into the backline with everybody else. A lot of lockdown, and see if they can delete priority targets. This is our last game of the day here for week 4, day number 1 of the PCS Spring Split 2022. Will Impunity be able to overcome the odds and take down the Titans of CTBC Flying Oyster, just like Beyond Gaming did before them? Or will it be another notch in the win column for CFO?
With this composition that Impunity is fielding, they have to play this super aggressively. Your tools are just your dumb engage. Like, this engage is pretty much a full screen wide. You flash EQR onto someone, and that distance, the amount of ground that you can cover with that is absolutely insane. You follow up with Realm Warp, and then you have the Quick Disc too. So Impunity is really about chasing people cross map and making sure that they get the first strike in. However, in order to play that style, you have to know your limits much better than your opponent. You have to understand that when you leave lane and you give up your laning phase, you are going to get something back in return. So it's a very risky composition. And with how extreme this comp is built, it's not actually that easy to play. I do see a lot of younger teams not recognizing their opportunities with this type of composition. So we'll see if Impunity can sort of play this. They've been honing it the entire split, but it's definitely difficult to pull off.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a challenge for Impunity, but if, it's high risk, but it's also a high reward. And Quiet, he's taking a lot of risks early on, just a lot of
no auto attacks on
snips there. Not apps, none at all, really. Just a little bit off.
I've got to say, that is the most impressive footsies I've seen in quite a while. Just going in level 1 and taking someone down to half HP and taking nothing in return. Quiet would have been better off just straight running to his tower.
Yeah, I don't really know what he was doing at the level 1. I mean, at this point, Rest is just full on setting him up a freeze. This could be a little bit rough for Quiet up top there.
Yeah. Another thing I do want to mention is we have a straight boots Galio coming out with the Predator from Mission. So he's waiting to roam very early on, and he's willing to forego everything. That's very interesting. If you do get pushed in by any of the CFO lanes, you have to be very aware that this could be just like a level 4, level 5 roam.
That's definitely going to be something that Impunity are going to have to watch for across the map. Not only is their comp going to be something that they have to consider on the execution level, I think they also have to consider really just how well they're going to be able to communicate in the laning phase. This has been a team that has looked a lot better together than their older iteration, but if they're put to the test or they're put to the challenge, right, they still don't have that many wins between them, and I wonder if things start to fall apart a little bit. We'll see if they can keep it all together. Underway, there aren't really any shenanigans, anything crazy happening early on, with the exception of Quiet just getting absolutely bodied right here.
It's been fun to watch. Quiet was so forced that he had to take the Twilight Shroud level 1, and that means for every CS he had to walk up, and I actually feel like it exacerbated his situation. He should have just straight ran for tower, or even just go for the shuriken flip if he wants to CS like this. But that was painful to watch.
Starting on the warding, though, Impunity are going to try and get as much vision out as they can. Track onto Gemini. They did, of course, see what Kolnge was able to accomplish previous game on the Heck Rims, going through the alcove. Taco actually sitting there in the bottom, looking for a lane gank here, but Gemini looking to match in the mid. Faith could be in trouble. No mana to speak of, as he gets knocked back, immediately flashes away towards the wrong side of the jungle, and he gets run at, taunted up, and just bashed in for first blood.
Yeah, that was a weird sequence of events here, as we did have Gemini actually just straight up walk over a ward. I think perhaps he got it with the Scryer. Now it's Taco's turn.
Oh no, onto the Flame Chompers they go, immediately swallowed up as well. Gank fully denied here. Excuse me, not Flame Chompers, that's the opposite side of the map. Blaze was trying to bait them on, didn't end up happening. But this is a good start for CTBC Flying Oyster, as they were able to get a kill onto Gemini. If he wants to rotate top and try to force Quiet out of lane, he can make this happen. Oh boy, I think Quiet needs to leave now.
Yeah, I wonder if he still has the Twilight Shroud available. Well,
he does, but not for much longer. Fed right into the waiting jaws. Gemini 2-0 now.
That top lane diff is just disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say. That's probably
nasty.
the most one-sided lane that we've seen in quite a while.
All right, Taco's really trying to make something happen down bot, but there is a ward that he's going to run straight into unless he can flag drag over the side of it. Looking for Atlan. They're going to go for the dive here, but while immediately out. Oh no, Pinway actually takes way too much damage himself and should burn down. Even with the presence of Taco, it's still a 1 for none.
And Pingwei had to expend his flash for that. He misses on the interrupt with the Abyssal dive and just puts himself in a terrible position straight afterwards. We were talking all about strategy, but you know, this is how CFO actually beats most of their teams. It's just through raw laning power.
And that's where Impunity have had some struggles, right? You know, we talk about it. Teamwork isn't really the issue. It's the individual level. It's executing. And, you know, we've seen Taco try for a couple of plays, but Pinway clearly not on the same page, goes in a little too early, a little too deep, gets ignited for his trouble up top. Quiet just finds himself so far down. I guess he has an ignite advantage, but it just doesn't really matter. Gemini 2-0 on this Hecarim, already getting level 6, just hits it at sub 6 minutes. He's got 2 levels on Taco. Okay, make that 1, but still.
Faith doesn't have a flash here, and Onslaught of
No,
Shadows
he
is coming.
doesn't. Good bait. And this is the thing. Mission can just run forward and get the point-blank taunt. This can happen over and over again as the Winds of War secure the kill 4-0.
Almost way too easy here. Let's see if Rest gets punished, though.
They need to get something back here. Taco taking the long path. Rest. There he is. Snip, snip. Tag back in. Impunity will manage to get a kill onto Quiet this time. Does burn the Ignite for good measure. It will open up an opportunity to take the Cloud Drake for CFO, however.
Good kill distribution as well. They do find something onto Quiet. You have to play Akali with a couple of kills or this composition just isn't going to work out. And, you know, this is the real danger up against CFO. I think even when you put a utility champion in the hands of Mission, this game he really hasn't been asked to do much. It's just pretty much herding Faith around the map and throwing him into Gemini's way. There is no smite here, so it should be a...
Oh!
Okay, interesting secure there by Koala.
He gets it at the end of the day. Mission might walk into trouble, however, it's still a 2v2 as Rest is sitting there, and Taco sees that and says, I don't want any part of that. Turns around.
Yeah, he is very fragile at this point. We have seen Jarvan, after the Gore Drinker changes, he's much more of an assassin champion, I think, earlier on. Doesn't get that Ruby Crystal, but does get the Caulfield's Warhammer. So you want to kind of ambush people out of the blue, but if you can't one-shot them, it's probably better not to go in.
No, absolutely not. Oh, Pinway, speaking of going in. He was in, he was out, but he did take a lot of damage alongside Blaze. Gemini here maybe just looks for a straight-up dive right now.
Could be possible. We have Realm Orb ready, though. Let's see if Pingwei can actually survive this.
Oh, Onslaught of Shadows dodged out, and they are going to be bringing the Gallia to the party. Mission goes deep in here, and everybody's involved in the action, but Mission taking a little bit of damage. Has to go for the Justice Punch away. Impunity sniff this out, read the play well, and deny the kills, but can't answer with them.
And that is why I am not a fan of the Hecarim plus Galio combo. You can't actually keep anyone in place, so they just sort of run off. And your fear actually helps them do that. They walk in the opposite direction of you, so...
Yeah, a bit of an anti-combo, if you will.
Yeah, it's not really the same level, I think, as a Camille or a Jarvan for that case, but I feel like Mission actually got super lucky right there. He didn't have the flash and was not... You can't go over terrain in Justice Punch, so if Taco actually pulled that trigger a little bit sooner, Mission would have been dead for sure. CFO, they still showcase what their game plan is, and I feel like Impunity have a good answer.
Ooh, that one does get rooted onto the Flame Chompers, but he doesn't really care, as the Moonlight Vigil does go down. Blaze taken so low there, he can't quite execute. This is just a straight-up 2v2. Meanwhile, Taco makes a return trip up top side. Let's see if he can cut Rest down to size here. There's a level advantage. Viet's got to be a little bit careful as he goes in. Kind of an obvious play here, but already kind of taking a little bit low as they dash, duck, dive, dip, and dodge, and into the mist. And Rest still gets the outplay. I don't believe it. Taco is going to die. No, he just lives by the skin of his teeth. And here comes Mission to clean up the job. Flash, dash, wins a war, and dust those mitts off.
Oh my god, Russ is just too damn good. This is pretty much Russ. I think he's putting training weights on himself. He's just like, yeah, I'll take the 1v2. You guys take everything from the bot side. It's totally fine. I can deal with this. It's okay. The footwork there was just absolutely phenomenal. He pops a Halo miss on during the EQ combo and actually walks out of the crowd control. That's pretty much all of Jarvan's damage. That was just absolutely disgusting to watch, and Taco did not have the Cataclysm there, so he was missing a large chunk of his damage.
Yeah,
we have to watch that again. It was absolutely disgusting. He goes in. I feel like he knows that the trade is coming, so he does pop his needlework as soon as Taco comes in. He finds the first needlework, actually walks out of the EQ combo. The Halo miss was a little bit slow. Like, if there's anything we want to criticize on that, it's probably just that 1 point. He does take a bit of damage before the W, but it's still a 1v2 that goes in the favor of CFO.
Yeah, Rest is demanding a lot of attention here. Meanwhile, down on the bottom side, he is in a 1v3, but Gemini is about to join the fray, and even though Zod's just a little bit dash out, no, Taco gets denied! Can't even do it as he hits the Cataclysm on, but he traps himself inside the pit as the Onslaught of Shadows goes through. Taco taking low, but Gemini is going to follow suit right now. Rest is going to try to keep the 1v3 going, but here comes the teleport, and that is going to be enough to chase Impunity off. Junglers traded, and that's a net win, I think, for CFO, considering the amount invested in that bot side.
They trade 1 for 1, but in the meantime, we do see Atlan taking over the top lane tower. So that's going to be first brick gold over to their side of the map. And another huge problem is this one's getting a little bit out of hand. It's just very fed at this point. 4 takedowns overall. There's no way Russ survives this one, right?
He really shouldn't have stuck around, but, nice miss to throw on. Good juggle of the aggro, Pinway. Oh, yeah, he gets out. Okay, that was just plate gold. I debated myself. Impunity do manage to pick him up, but I think maybe he bought a little bit into his own hype there.
Yeah, there is no word called hubris in Ress's dictionary. Very well played by Gemini, able to block that one out. It takes 4 people to come and finish this 1 kill off from the side of Impunity. And in the meantime, you see a top lane just taking a free tower. And the Herald was from before.
Maybe a little bit more plates on the mid side, looking to maybe get that last one up. Atlan can actually kind of just walk up here and can't quite secure that one, but it should be very short order coming as the gold lead sits at about that 3,000 mark for CFO. Should be able to add another dragon to the repertoire too. This one a mountain. Let's see what the rift is coming up after this. And we got another Hextech one. It's been a very Hextech heavy day, hasn't it?
Yeah, I do like Hextech quite a bit. It really favors side lane teams. You have CFO as more of a... Well, Rust is incredibly fed, so I guess he could play side lane as well. But I think this does favor Impunity just a little bit.
Taco is going to look to set up a... no, he just wants to back away, but Mission's going to walk right into him here. So that's going to force the flag drag. Now here comes Pinway on the quickness. They might be able to take Mission out, and nowhere for him to go, really, as he was just trapped inside the Jarvan pit, but it does take a long time before he goes down, and Quiet will be the one to finish the job.
Really well done by Impunity. This is the second kill that they've done just with the vision advantage that they have on the bot side. CFO members really need to stop poking their head into that brush and going there alone. That hasn't been worthwhile for them. But in the flip side, CFO might be able to just take this tower down. They're going for Pingway.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to find him right here, but it's actually just Koala. Gets the swallow up in a level advantage there as Pinway trying to battle dance to safety, burns his flash as Taco covers for him, and somehow nobody dies.
That's a 2v4 that CFO are essentially playing against this team composition that they get out scot-free.
Yeah, not bad, actually. Still with that gold advantage. They try to push their luck a little bit too far, but don't end up getting punished. Should be able to knock down this tower pretty easily here. Flame Chomper's trying to dissuade the push, but Atlan still managed to take a couple more pot shots before it's all said and done. And Taco, whoa, I don't know if he wanted to flag drag in that way, but that's okay. Smite's on for the HP. Able to turn it away. That's going to be it. Tower's going to fall on 2 lanes here in favor of CFO, and that will complete the trifecta of outers at about the 14-minute mark.
And CFO knew that there was no fight chance from Impunity at all. They just burned their quickness and the Cataclysm for the kill onto Mission. But even though he falls down, it pretty much enables CFO to just take uncontested towers. There's just no ability for CFO to really fight with, and kind of just using the cooldown difference here. And that kind of is another big problem about catch compositions, is if you just catch one person but you don't have an objective to follow up with, a lot of times you're actually bleeding out objectives on the other side of the map. So Impunity, if they want to find these catches, they have to follow up with very decisive wins in the ensuing team fights. They have to chase down multiple targets for it to be worthwhile. And that's going to be a big test here. They have to break this Drake train as well. So I'm really looking forward to Impunity setting up Vision, somehow trying to break Vision in the bot side, and get a very decisive team fight.
It does seem like they focus a little bit on Mission here. Of course, a little bit of missed timing as they wanted to try and grab him as he was passing through, but the wave started pushing a little bit too far, and now the game's kind of up. All of a sudden, he sees 3. The reaction comes in from Koala and Atlan as they go on a run, and the flankers are flanked. Here goes the flash into the 2-man taunt on the Idol of Durand, and now Taco is going to sacrifice himself for the cause and try to walk it out. If he gets away, I swear, no, not this time. As Atlan opens up in the Moonlight Vigil, that still could have been a little worse for him, and maybe they can trade back with the Tower Bot because Faith was nowhere near that fight.
Taco with a heroic self-sacrifice there to save the rest of his team. And it will allow Impunity, I feel like, to get one bounty back. They do lose a lot more on the backside.
They lose an inner, though. That's not worth it.
It definitely isn't. You're right, you're right. At least they get on the table in terms of the tower takes, but I think this is the problem with the catch composition. You have to be willing to follow up, and this is why I say I feel like Impunity's composition is actually pretty difficult to execute overall. It's not about executing the catch itself, it's about putting yourself into a map position where you can execute the catch and still come out ahead of it. So far we've seen them, yes, they've been able to catch Mission out. They lost 2 towers directly afterwards. And, yes, they've been able to, kind of catch Mission wandering again, but they can't pull the trigger because if they do, they're all dead. So,
yeah.
Catch comps are a lot harder to play than they might seem on paper. And I think a huge part of it is you do need a winning side lane. If you have a winning side lane, you can draw enemies away from you. It's much easier to dictate where the enemy team is going to be on the map. If you don't have that, though, as Quiet had a very bad start against Rest, it becomes much more difficult.
Here we go again. He's going to try to walk it out. There's the quickness, and they should be able to take him down, but you're right, it does take a little bit of extra effort to do it. Faith grabs the kill that time. That should open up on the timing to help them secure a dragon if they can back and set up for it in time. And, I was going to say, yeah, sure, the catch, it does work when they find Mission asleep on the side lanes. Problem is Mission necessarily the priority target here, right? I mean, you're never going to be able to get Atlan on a side lane, but maybe Rest is a little bit more worth it.
I really like that catch coming in from Impunity because they still kept the Cataclysm, and the timing was correct to give them a 5v4 around this Drake. However, they need to take it down pretty quickly because there is a TP coming in from Mission. This will not last forever.
No, they already got down to 3,000. They have to put themselves in a 50-50 smite, though. They need to actually stop Gemini for a second if they want to. Taco taking a little bit low, and oh, there we go. Managed to secure it and into the Cataclysm to deny himself. To deny the team the follow-up if they can get away. Here comes Mission on the Justice Punch, stopped him in the Rune Prison, but they do not want to fully face the fight, and I think they would be happy to trade Taco's life for that Drake train being stopped at the station.
At this point, they will trade Taco for anything. That is the jungler's life. He is meant to sacrifice for his team, and that was really well executed by Impunity. They get the steal down, they put a bit of damage on CFO, and they don't lose anyone outside of the jungler. So that's a huge win in terms of giving themselves 5 more minutes to kind of find an advantage back in the game.
Okay, inner tower is going to fall, though. Unfortunately, it looks like the fight's going to be on. Look at the flank around the side from Gemini. I don't think they were expecting that one to come through. Faith does get taken out. Meanwhile, what the heck is going on over the side of the jungle right now as Mission didn't realize that both Quiet and Taco had taken the Hex Gates?
This one's an interesting one. It seems like CFO... I'm not sure if this is intentional, but Impunity are so tunnel-focused onto Mission at times, and they don't actually come out ahead of that trade. Like, even Mission is laughing. Look at Gemini. He's so happy. He's like, okay, we'll just throw you to the side. If they kill you, we'll take a tower. It's good.
I mean, yeah, this is, it would work really well if Mission was like, the carry, the linchpin of the strategy, but, I mean, he's just kind of a big beefy boy this game, so I don't think he cares all that much. It is interesting to see the usage of the Hex Gates to try and get a nice flank angle off, but, losing out of the objectives in exchange for kills, not usually going in your favor. So CFO definitely have a pretty healthy lead here of about 6,000 as we get closer to that 20-minute mark and Baron becomes an option. Oh, Gemini, he's quite big too as they look to chase down somebody here, waiting in the wings, and Pinway, almost got a little too close. But I think he still could be in trouble as he gets licked there, still should be able to limp away.
I think the most important thing for Atlan is this rotation of guns, as he just has his Gravitum up. So that's a fresh Gravitum with full ammo. And there's not much you can do against auto attack into root here, coming in with the Aphelios. I actually expected them to play a little bit more forward into that position, but we see Atlan actually just backing off and going back for his red. Yeah, maybe he'll wait for the next Gravitum. He doesn't really need to use it when clearing against these camps, so I do expect him to move towards the objective and just try to play Vision Denial into catch.
Oh, speaking of catch, trying for the 1v1 onto Rest, but he's brought Faith to the party. Certainly knew he was playing with a little more confidence, as Rest is now on a run the wrong direction. And Taco's going to come in here. This is the side lane play I was hoping to see. However, Koala's coming. This is buying a lot of time, a lot of resources being freed up. Look what's happening for the rest of the CFO squad. And if Rest gets quiet, oh boy, that would have been a suboptimal trade. They're still losing out topside, though, as Mission's just having free farm and Gemini's having free push.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting here. They don't actually lose any towers for that one, so I feel like for Impunity, that's actually just kind of a fine trade, and they don't lose Baron for it. So, I would expect Atlan at this point. They're so far ahead that they can actually take a really quick Baron. I want to see Atlan and Koala just stay on the top side of the map, away from West.
Here comes the onslaught. That's going to be a big fear. Let's see if they actually landed. It's going to be Blaze taking out the fight immediately. That opens up the opportunity for a lot of continued pushing without the AD carry. I wonder if this is a Baron play.
It definitely should be. Taco without Cataclysm, without Flash, and there's a lot of key ultimates down here, so I wouldn't mind them just starting on this one. CFO, I think they're playing it pretty damn safe in this instance. They don't want to throw away their advantage, and probably with a Hex Gate, it does make those Baron calculations a little bit more difficult because the enemy team can arrive on spot a lot faster. They're still continuing to snowball this game. About 5k advantage, it actually went down a little bit, so that kill and the bounty secure onto Rest does stack up slowly.
Yeah, the game has slowed down just a little bit. I mean, Impunity managing to cut down the Drake stacking certainly helped a little bit with that, but also the fact that CFO are trying not to overplay their hand here, playing controlled enough because they know that there's an opportunity for Impunity to start the fight back. They haven't been shown to be quite as weak, so it is going to be the Baron vision control game for a little while. You don't want to go ahead and start this one up when you're not in a secure position.
Yeah, and to be honest, CFO don't really have the strongest of catch opportunities. So Impunity are actually relatively safe. As long as there's some vision around their Raptors, they could just pop in and sort of harass them onto the side. There's not a lot of chance for CFO to do a full turn onto them, and I think CFO sort of realized that as well. Unless they are deep into the red side jungle, they can't really force Impunity to its decisive team fight. They're just kind of happy roaming around the map and taking whatever Impunity cannot defend.
Easy take on the Hextech Drake. That puts him at soul point for the next time it spawns around, and that does force Impunity to need to make some difficult decisions here as they march right back to the mid lane, kind of keeping this 4-1 going for the time being.
Where can Taco go?
Let's see where Mission's going. Oh boy. I mean, I feel like Pinway, I don't know if he was fully expecting Mission to be there, but he was not getting away. Not nearly tanky enough. And now Taco, I think, is... oh boy.
Yeah, there's nowhere for him to go at this point, and...
He could try to outplay and get out of here and dodge, but I don't think it's happening.
The really cool thing about this play is just Mission being able to kind of sneak past the vision and control that.
They don't have to kill him. They don't even have to. They just let the Baron go. Just keep the jungler away. Rocket comes in, intercepted, doesn't matter. Baron goes down. I mean, what a strange turn of events.
Yeah, I actually like this play from Impunity as they overchase and spend a lot of time on this one. In the meantime, Impunity are able to sneak away 3 towers. That's a lot of objective gold bounty going back onto the other side. Sure, true. CFO are, they're still very much in the lead, but good play by Impunity to kind of capture back some of that gold at the very least. I think the key thing about that play was still Mission somehow being able to push so deep without running into a minion wave. So Pingwei and unfortunately Taco did get a false sense of security to check the Baron, and Mission just walked in and kind of closed the trapdoor on them.
Yeah, Taco was kind of on a bit of a great escape. Pinway couldn't quite make the same thing happen, so with the Baron off the rift, things start to get a little bit simpler for a little while, and Of course, still some time before the next dragon will come up, but Impunity, it feels like they probably have to contest that one. Don't want to give away the soul, especially for a team that is also looking to chase down and get the dive on. Want to try and grab a little bit more of that standing gold in the towers back for themselves. Got 3, 2 inners, 2 in the mid rather, and 1 in the bottom, but none in the top. Looking like to change that soon, but the threat is still here from CFO as they have 4 members strong pushing between mid and bot.
I do like what Impunity are trying to do here. Set up a kill with their members with the 2 TPs, and then go back to the base with those double TPs into the back line and just pick people off. This is the comeback sort of mentality that a team definitely needs, and they are going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to play on to the Gwen here, and the fight is happening on a couple of fronts as the push starts. Gwen already taken out of this fight, but CFO just continue to focus their fire on that inner turret. There's no response here from Impunity. They can't stop it.
This is kind of weird. Impunity do have the 5v4 right now. They should flank this 100%.
They need to.
They're taking way too long.
Yeah, they lost their inhibitor already, and now setting up the fight. Had to know something was going to be happening here as they go in for the quickness into the rocket. Do they have the damage to finish it off? Pinway already taken a little bit too low and already taken out of this one as Atlan opens up with a huge surge of damage, getting the double kill. They had the flank, but they did not have the execution. And I think that is a fatal mistake from Impunity. Blaze rushing back to Fountain, and he will make it. But this has got to be GG. 26 minutes in, and CFO looking to end their day 1 of week 4 on a high note here. Goodbye, Blaze. They may have sacrificed Gemini for it, but they don't seem to care. That's going to be it.
And at the end of the day, catching rest, it still cost way too much for Impunity. He was able to drag that fight out for so long, and I think critically he